good, everyone? It's Rebel Inc. for NextGenWalkthroughs.com, and this is Heavy Rain. This is the first kind of mini story. It's called Prologue, and there's actually 10 of these per chapter, and there's 6 chapters total. Actually, there's in the first 5 chapters there's 10 mini stories, and the 6th chapter is just the final game and some epilogue. But at any rate, this one's called Prologue. As you can imagine, it is your tutorial and also kind of your guide for what you're going to be doing pretty much for the whole game. Kind of setting your expectations and also teaching you how to use a mechanic and interact with the environment. So obviously this game is pretty good looking, and it's very unique in its own controls. It kind of reminds me of some of the early Resident Evil games, walking around wise. You know how I always felt like kind of awkward, and you turned, but your body turns, but your head doesn't turn, type thing. Well, it kind of has that same feel, but it doesn't become a nuisance because just the style of the game, it just works, and you'll kind of see that as we play the game.
Before I go downstairs.
The way you interact with your world, as you can see, is kind of what I'm doing, is with the right analog stick. Typically, in most games, you interact with the world with, some sort of face button.
Gone shopping.
But
Pick the kids up from school at lunchtime.
this one obviously does the right analog stick, and at first, it's kind of
Don't work too hard.
very odd feeling, and it feels like it doesn't make sense. But the more you play the game, and the more you get used to the controls, it makes a ton of sense why they went this route. And it never really gets in the way of itself either. And that's important because anytime a company's trying to reinvent the wheel with control schemes, typically it's utter failure. But in this case, I think Quantic Dream did a really good job. And as I mentioned, it'll make more sense once you start playing the game more, or even seeing the game more. So as you can see, it's kind of having us do each of these game mechanic motions, and just as I mentioned, what it's doing is just introducing you to all the things it's going to want you to do in some of the QuickTime events, or just interacting with objects in the world. And you definitely want to get used to it, at least used to executing them correctly, because as you'll see in some of the action sequence we get to later, they're going to be throwing all of these mechanics that we're learning in fast succession at us. And especially this one, where you got to do it really slow. You got to move your analog really slow. It sucks because you'll be doing all these really quick, thinking on your toes, QuickTime events, and then out of nowhere you got to do that slow mechanic. So it caught me off guard. I'm pretty sure it's going to catch you off guard too. So I went ahead and skipped the shower scene, obvious reason. There is nudity in this game. It's rated mature. And some of the nudity and sex scenes put Mass Effect to shame. I'll leave you with that. If you want to see it, just buy the game. So this is a pretty important game mechanic to learn. Anytime you're interacting with your environment, or investigating your little worlds, if you want to change your camera angle, press L1. My first playthrough, I didn't learn that till almost near the end of the game, and there's some parts where I was trying to investigate kind of a corner of a room, and the camera angle wouldn't allow you to see what was in that corner. So at first I thought it was a game design failure, but it was just me being stupid. So yeah, press L1 if you want to change your camera angles. So here, when he's juggling these hacky sack things, the sequence in which the buttons are coming in, the speed wise, the way it's coming in is is the speed in which your quick time events are gonna come at you. The main difference though is they're gonna be a lot different, as far as what it wants you to do, like button wise and shaking the controller wise. But for the most part, that is the speed that they'll come at. However, the main thing to note is the length of time you're going to be doing your quick time events can get pretty ridiculous.
Nice day outside.
There's some scenes in this game where you're literally going on minutes, doing quick time events and whatnot. And keeps you on your toes because I don't know if I talked about this yet, but the way the game works is it works on an autosave system. You don't go save. You can't pause and save the game. You can't go to a typewriter and save the game. It's automatically saving all the time. So every time you make a decision in this game and you see the origami in the corner light up, the game is saving, and you pretty much have to own up to that decision, because if you stop your game and restart it, it's always going to start there, and you cannot preload previous scenes. There's kind of a way around it, but for the most part, I like the way it's set up like that, because it makes you own up to everything you decide to do. So alright, so what he's doing here is obviously he's an architect. I don't think the game told you just yet, but if you don't know, now you know, as Biggie Smalls would say. And the thing about what he's doing here is, at least what I like about what the game teaches you early on, is if there are things to do to something you're interacting with, and it keeps on giving you different things to do to interact with, keep doing it until the entire sequence is done. So what I mean by that is, we're going to keep drawing and keep picking up like pencils and erasers, and we're going to keep messing with this drawing until Ethan, your character, says something like, alright, looks like we're done here, looks like we're finished. Because game-wise, there's a lot of things in this game that we're going to be doing that we need to make sure and complete the interactivity of that object before we actually move on. So in the prologue, the reason you want to finish this work is because when your kids come home, you want to get a chance to play with them. So from what I understand, if you don't finish this, you can't play with them, and you have to come back and finish this work, and then you miss the opportunity to play with your kids. So you can see we're still interacting with the drawing. I think we have to do a couple more things, and finally when he signs his artwork is when you're actually done. But for the rest of this video, it's time to when your wife and kids come home. So feel free to just walk around the entire environment, just interact with stuff. There's nothing else really that's kind of mind-blowing or game mechanic wise that is absolutely necessary that I review with you. But so just go and walk around, do what you want to do, and within probably about 2 minutes from now, your wife and kids will show up, and that will be part 2 of this video. So see you guys there. Peace.